What did you do for Thanksgiving? I spent the day here on my own and had a nice solitary dinner for one. That is what I did. Why? What did you do for Thanksgiving? Spend the evening with family and friends? If so, I hope you didn't forget to make the occasion as miserable as possible for all of your right-wing relatives. And bear in mind, Christmas and New Year's, they're right around the corner. Yeah. Let's make this a holiday season to remember, shall we? Dear Godfather, the system for playing music through your car dashboard is called Bluetooth. Bluetooth is something totally, completely different. I guarantee it. Oh, yeah, the Star Trek voice. Bluetooth connection is now successful. Something like that? Yeah, she is saying Bluetooth. So what in the hell is Bluetooth? Why isn't it... Wait a minute, Bluetooth is, I've seen the commercials on television. It's Bluetooth is a type of dog food, isn't it? I don't happen to own a dog, so I can't give you my impressions about it. But why isn't there punks at the zoo anymore? You know, it is a shame that we do not have more time so that I could answer questions which address important, significant topics like this, address them at leisure, at length, instead of battling attention spans. Because I tell you, not only punks at the zoo, but all of those other magnificent, fantastic extracurricular activities and projects and events and holidays and field trips within the punk rock skinhead spectrum, which were removed from the standard, typical, overplayed bands and shows and concerts, removed from the entire musical element. These were events which incorporated and included everybody. Absolutely everyone. Punks at the zoo. Punks at OMSI. Punks at Oaks Park. The PDX Punks Diners Club. Punk Rock Piñata Bash. The Punks Auction. And so on and so forth. There were so many of them. And they were essential to the punk rock skinhead equation. And yet, one by one, they all fell by the wayside. And I can tell you that the decay of these extracurricular events is reflected in the overall decay and deterioration of the disharmony and the disunity of the punk rock skinhead spectrum. That which has been plaguing it for so many years now. Yeah. But you see, there is a bit of good news to this. In terms of punks at the zoo and pretty much all of these other events, it's not so much that they ended, they're merely suspended. For the most part, they're all just dormant, just waiting to be renewed, resurrected, revitalized, initiated into a whole new renaissance. You see, the way the majority of these events came about and were prolonged over the years is more or less the same. You go back to the origins. You have those who founded these events, and they sponsored them, and they promoted them, and then they reached a point where maybe they couldn't do that anymore, but someone else stepped up, and they assumed the responsibility, kind of in the sense of stewardship. They took on the responsibility, kind of like when the baton is passed in a race, or the torch is passed to a new generation. Someone else would step up, take on the responsibility, and they would promote the event, and they would make sure that it continued. And then when they couldn't do it anymore, they would pass it along to somebody else who was just waiting, usually eagerly, enthusiastically, to take up the responsibility, to assume the stewardship, and to make sure that the cycle continued. Yeah, these were all, for the most part, open-ended to this kind of proliferation. And as I recall, the last, and up to the moment, final punks at the zoo, the final incarnation, was initiated by none other than little baby punk Gob. He had his heart set on it, I tell you. He was so excited, and he put it all together, and I went out there to see how it all went, and all the 2 kids showed up. And that broke his heart. His heart just wasn't in it. He withdrew, and like so many of these other events, it fell by the wayside. But you see, because these are open-ended, it doesn't have to remain that way. To answer your question, why isn't there punks at the zoo anymore? We are simply waiting for someone to step forward, take the initiative, and bring this event back into its own vitality. Figure out when $2 Tuesday is, arrange the event, and then just make it happen. That's all it would take. That's all it would take with the majority of these. That's the beauty of them being open-ended, and as I say, that goes all the way back to their origins. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, in speaking of going all the way back to the origins, because I'm quite certain that all of you will agree that it is mandatory to give credit where credit is due, especially in lieu of such a thrilling and unique and magical field trip like Punks at the Zoo. For the record, and furthermore to forestall any of that gross revisionism which some of you out there are so hell-bent on implementing, let's take a moment of recognition here. You know, give a little tributary shout-out. After all, it's not like you don't know who to thank. You do remember who founded Punks at the Zoo, don't you? Sure you do. Jesse Lee and Bryce